Here's Breaking Bad, Season 5, Episode 13, or Season 5, Part 2, Episode 5. The theme of this episode, Walt won't kill family, and that's why he'll give himself up, but Jesse is like family, quote unquote. So the hit goes on Jesse. Walt will now want to kill Jesse. And basically, of course, he gets the Nazis to do it. And the Nazis are the baddest dudes on the planet. So there's always someone worse than who you are. Just like the opposites. There's always someone better than you. And that's why you always constantly get better. But this is the opposite direction. And this is what I was talking about with Jesse's quote in the last episode. Everything that occurs, Walt thinks is going to happen. The exact opposite of that situation happens, which makes Walt a bad scientist. And basically Walt's one of the themes is Walt sitting in the car as the big gunfire goes on the end of the episode, and he's basically, his own worst fears happen. Hank's involved in it, family is involved in it, he can't talk to Jesse, and he's locked in the car, he's got his handcuffs on, and he can't do anything about what is occurring. And that's what makes him a bad scientist, because he can't see this happening. Walt's own commitment to himself in what he's done, he's still in his own little experiment that he can't give up on himself. And that's basically what does him and what does Hank and what does his whole family. He has too much commitment to himself. He needed to give up a long time ago. And I think that was his first instinct in season 1 of Breaking Bad. His first instinct was to give up and just let himself die of cancer, and which is probably what should have happened. Hank gets his hero moment because Walt gives himself up in the desert. He basically gets his outlaw and calls to tell his love that he loves her in this big romantic moment. It's the cowboy moment, and you know that Hank's dead in the next episode. I haven't seen the next episode yet, but Hank's dead because basically when you get a cowboy moment like that and you milk that and you milk it and you milk it and you milk it, the cow's milk is bone dry. Basically, he's dead. And the Nazis are going to arrive and the bloodshed begins. The only thing with this episode is that when Jesse kind of manipulates Walt to go down to the desert for the money, it seemed a little bit pushed, but I think that's the whole analogy where the more evil Walt gets, the more emotional he gets, and the more emotional he gets, he can't see the logic, and the more he can't see the logic, the less intelligent he gets. And I think that's sort of why he kind of was pulled in by Jesse's manipulation. But I think people will question that as the only kind of iffy spot of Breaking Bad Season 5 Part 2. But I'll let it slide. That's my review.